Oh yeah, I'm back. So this video is basically someone commented a suggestion, and I know I probably wasn't gonna cover much more horror stuff or like web series stuff, but then when I saw it, it was super good, so I was like, yeah, damn, I have to make a video about this. So that's why we're here. Okay, so basically today we're gonna be talking about a series called the Macabre Experiment. It's by this YouTuber named Stuffy Studios. Check him out. I will leave a link to his channel in the description below. But enough of that. You've already seen an intro before, so you don't need two intros. Let's get right into it with video one. So video one is about Smile Dog, which is pretty interesting. If you haven't read Smile Dog, what are you doing? Where have you been for the past 10 years? But Smile Dog is basically this old creepypasta where if you look at an image and you don't share it, you will probably go insane and kill yourself. But that's just the basic version. You can still read the story, so I would go read that. I would suggest reading all the creepypasta stories that are discussed before viewing the videos, just because it will be a little confusing. I'm assuming most of you have, because this stuff's been around for years. Everyone knows about this stuff now. But anyways, in this first video, we get failed experiment number 222, which is smilge.jpg. And it basically starts with a man interviewing a kid named Wyatt Miller, and he talks about going camping with his friends, and he experienced some weird stuff during the camping trip, but he didn't want to say anything because apparently him and his friends have been fighting, and they went to the camp to try and, reconnect with each other. It is noted that one of his friends, Max, did not go with them. Just something he included. He didn't want to go, so sorry, Max, you're out of the friend group. But later on, as he's discussing when he got home and went on his computer, he basically opened it and found an anonymous message from an anonymous user with an image of Small Dog saying spread the image. And so ever since he saw this image, he got voices in his head. He was basically going insane, hearing voices telling him to spread the image. And so he eventually just sent it all to his friend. And then we cut to a computer, and this is what we see.
Tomorrow, Wyatt. Get some rest.
So I think it's safe to assume that this is probably Wyatt's computer, and if it's not his computer, it's at least how he saw his computer, because we do know he was going kind of crazy at the time. But then afterwards, we're treated to a little Looney Tunes, cartoon. And in this cartoon, it seems normal. I think I've actually seen this like a long time ago. Basically, the dog's trying to sleep, but the funny stuff is happening to keep him awake. Except what happens here is it's a bit distorted, and as the dog's trying to sleep, he's visited by this dark man. That's how I'm going to refer to him until we find his name. We do later on, but for now it makes it easier. And then the dark man pops up in front of the camera, and we hear the song All You Need Is Smiles from Arrested Development playing backward. Then it cuts to a sunflower field, and in this we get the following text.
I was having the most wonderful dream. I finally felt free. I got to be away from the people I hate. In my dream, there is no hate. Everything is peaceful. Everything is warm. I can't help but smile. Smile.
And then it just repeats smile over and over again. And then finally, it has a demonic image of Smile Dog saying smile, and it cuts to spread the image. It then cuts to a body on a bed, which is absolutely brutalized, and it's accompanied by Sweet Dreams Sadie. If you read the original creepypasta, Smile Dog creepypasta, basically you go crazy and kill yourself unless you send the image. I'm guessing that probably happened to Sadie. She probably committed not live. We also learned that the rest of his friends died, so it's likely that happened, unless in this universe Small Dog is able to kill those that don't share the video. If that's the case, then that's how his friend died, but it's just a little weird to me that is what happened if that goes against the original creepypasta, so I'm going to safe to say that she committed not live. Afterwards, we learned that the man who interviewed him wanted to see the image, and after looking at the image, he died 2 days later. So don't look at the image. Now for the second video, this one's about Suicide Mouse, and once again, if you haven't read the creepypasta, I would really suggest doing that. So this is going to be failed experiment number 16, the mouse. And in the beginning, we get text saying, hey, it's me again. This is actually a recurring character. I don't think there's a name for him yet, so I'm just going to call him the narrator. Or her, we don't know if it's a girl. And so basically the narrator is saying, hey, it's me again. If you come across these files, which I'm guessing is the Macabre Experiment videos, that they should be deleting them. So guys, you can't watch the videos. But anyways, we're introduced to a woman named Diana Cooper. And so basically she's on the phone talking about how lazy this other person is. She doesn't give a name yet, but I think it's safe to assume it's a guy named Curtis, which we do learn about later on in the video, and how she can't wait to come home to her husband. It then cuts to a distorted old Mickey Mouse cartoon, and we see Mickey Mouse stumbling around a haunted house. This is a little different from the original creepypasta, but I'm sure it's fine. Basically in the house, it's really distorted and creepy, and eventually Mickey is backed into a room by a hooded figure, and the hooded figure removes his hood, revealing that it is the same Dark Man from the Smile Dog video. And after this, we get another video interaction between Diana and Curtis. Diana's trying to tell him something, but he's just, shooing her off, and basically how it's all under control and she should just get back out there. So it's safe to assume Curtis is her boss, and then she was probably just complaining her boss to her husband or whoever she was on the phone in the beginning. It then cuts to a note saying, I know you're excited for the show to premiere, sweetie. I'll be home right after. You can tell me how it was. I love you. Smiley face. However, the voice in the background says a totally different thing, and I think you should watch it. So we can learn that Mrs. Cooper her child is probably dead. At least I can't tell if they said Miss Cooper or Mr. Cooper. I think it was Mrs. But now that I think about it after watching all the videos, it might be Mr. Basically, they're informed that the child is dead, and it's almost as if it's taunting them about it, along with the creepy picture of Mickey Mouse. And then it cuts to Suicide Mouse video that we all know and love, with Mickey stumbling from left to the right side of the screen, except this one seems to happen in Disneyland, which is different than the original creepypasta. And those of you that know the story, he just walks and eventually, commits not live. He did not die. He lived, die. Yes. Now the narrator comes back with a voice message from a guy named Rowan Withers, who is related to the situation, and it's a phone call of basically him discovering a body of a woman who killed herself. We see it on the ground, and he sees a gunshot and a gun next to her, so it's likely that she committed suicide. And then it cuts to some Disney B-roll and Mickey Mouse accompanied by some distorted screams before cuts to yet another woman, I think. See, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl because it looks feminine. It's got long hair, relatively skinny, like petite frame almost, but it's got like chest showing, so I want to say it's a guy, unless it's like really bad quality. Maybe they're wearing a t-shirt, because if the chest is showing, they definitely got to blur that out. So we just know it's another body. There's two dead people. And then after this, we get some more creepy imagery, and then a note from a person named Silas C. And in the note, we see the following. Guess what, Diana? I got the film we needed. Took some work. It's rare, Bought off some shady company. They recreated the cartoon in their own, they said. Pretty impressive, honestly. It looks pretty legit to me. I'm sure the boss won't notice. Just don't let him know about where we got it, alright? He's gonna be so glad we managed to find this. However, it then cuts away, and in that cutaway, we can see two kind of like number combinations. The first one's being X5C5032 and then X5BF5AE8. I have no idea what these mean. Maybe it'll get revealed later, but I don't know what these mean. But basically, what happened, I think, is they needed to put on some kind of show. And so, in desperation, they kind of got this tape, and they didn't want to tell Curtis about it. And then upon viewing the tape, the only two people viewing it was one of the women, which I believe was probably Diana. And then I want to say the other one was her daughter or son, because we did get a child, your child is dead. So maybe she watched it with their kid. And because of that, the effects of Suicide Mouse, they both committed not living anymore. And that's what I think is going on in that video. Now, for the third video, we get the Ben Dron one. I love Ben Dron, so I was kind of excited to see this one because I'm a huge Ben Dron fan. But to the video. In it, basically we start off with another interview. These all seem to start with some kind of interview, which I think is pretty neat because it kind of sets the scene and is something you can come back to later on in this in the video to kind of make more understanding of it. And this is from Oliver, and he bought a copy of Majora's Mask from a yard sale. And basically, he talks about how the game was cursed, and despite wanting to stop playing, his curiosity kept making him play it. I don't know if there's actually a supernatural thing forcing him to play, and he just thinks it's his curiosity, or if he actually just continued to play. And other than some psychological harm, this failed experiment, which I think I forgot to mention, failed experiment number 8 is Ben. It doesn't seem to want to kill him, so that's already a plus compared to the other ones. But basically, he plays the game, and any of you that read the creepypasta, like I've been saying, already know the gist. Ben follows Link around, Link gets sets on fire, impossible boss fights. But where this one does differ from the original is at one point he goes to a graveyard, and after interacting with it in the game, you find an image of a kid. Basically, it's Ben asking Link to help him, or maybe Oliver who's playing the game. It then cuts to footage which is really hard to make out what it is, but we see text saying,
"Father, why would you do it?"
before it cuts away. And we'll get back to that later. Basically, it cuts back to the impossible fight with Skull Kid, except this time Link is dead on the ground, and we see the same dark man approaching Link with laughter. Before it cuts back, sorry, this one has a lot of cuts, back to regular Ben John gameplay, and suddenly we're face to face with a bloody Ben. Ben being the game version, not the kid version that we saw earlier. Most of the time, yeah, it's same person, different form, and we see the following text.
"I've been stuck in a shell. I just want to be freed. I want to rest peacefully without him."
And then the video ends with the narrator saying, "Rest well, Ben." Now it's time for theories and discussion after this break. Seeing as you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're the type of person that loves to watch horror people cover horror content. That's great. But have you ever thought about, I don't know, participating? I sound like a military recruiter. Basically, I have my own web series called Night Visions, and in this web series, it's told from multiple perspectives, and I give a link to the main perspective, which is the easiest to follow, and the one with the most kind of stories branching off from it. And you can kind of go there, look at the videos, and solve it yourself. And if you need help, there's a community, the Muerte Collective, ready to help at any time. They're a Discord community that I created. They focus mostly on my projects. And basically, you can go there and help, solve the mysteries with them. There's lots of things. There's a mystery right now that they cannot solve, so they might need your insight to help them solve it. So go, and even if you don't want to join the community, you can still just watch the videos and solve it yourself. If you're stumped, you know where to go, though. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to plug my web series. I'm working hard on it. I've taken a detour to do this, but I will go right back to working on it as soon as I'm finished with this. And there's enough content there right now that you can kind of watch anyways. Now back to the video.
We now return you to DeadHatz.
Alrighty, so those of you that have watched the Macabre Experiments know that I am leaving out very crucial details, and I saved those for the theories discussion. You see, after the Ben Drown and Small Dog video, there's 2 unlisted videos. Small Dog one isn't that important. It's just a creepy Small Dog image that just kind of ties in with the story to give it an extra scare factor. I think it's pretty neat. because it gives you the option like, do you want to see the image that caused all this bad shit to happen? Click this video. But to the story, it's not really that important. What we want to focus on is the Ben drowned one. In the video, we get some reverse speech and a man walking away from water. And obviously, you gotta play it backwards, and we get this, which I tried my best to decode, by the way. Some of it is really hard to understand, but I'll put text at the bottom, putting what I think he's going to say.
I took him to the lab one day, wanted him to check out some of the serum dyes I made. What? Of course I didn't tell him. I just said they were for animal testing. He still didn't like the idea of it though. I miss him. I didn't mean to. He attacked me. He was acting out, trying to kill me. I don't understand why. Why would you do that to me?
And so what we can see from that video is that there's some kind of lab with experiments going on that caused this guy, whoever he brought with him, to attack him. We learn later on why that might be, but for now, just know there's labs and experiments. Now, I left out a fourth video on Stuffy Studios' channel that the reason I left out is I didn't know it was actually part of the series until I viewed it, and it explains very well what the hell is going on. Basically, we see the narrator talking about PE Protective Agency and how he sent one of his personnel there, and we're just looking at his footage. And I'll show you a bit of what he discovers that can do, honestly, a better job explaining it than I can, but I'll go into detail on it in just a moment.
Just pay attention to the screen. This is a vital process for your survival. Thank you for collaborating. Mistakes in the lab in the past. A fellow organization once known as Macabre Labs, named after Ethan Macabre, had attempted human experiments for their own benefit. Many of those experiments have gone horribly wrong, causing most people to die. Others may have spent out to a friend, and most have lost all memories. These experiments caused Macabre to run left into the air, which spread out. These Macabre could travel through more than just living news, but through along with the jets and could use advanced technology and look simpler viewing television basil. Ethan was in the court. He then went missing after the source of the Macabre was discovered. Macabre Labs was shut down. The human-building technology that had been infected by Macabres are what we call Macabres. They are the failed experiments.
So, what do we learn? Basically, Ethan Macabre was doing some kind of experiments, and these caused microbes to infect people and inanimate objects. And then later on, we see footage of the personnel trying to escape the facility after seeing the Dark Man. During this chase sequence, there's some distorted text, the first one saying, "My glorious creations," and then "breathe." And then the rest of the footage was corrupted, but we later learned that he was running from the one and only Jeff the Killer, also known as Jeffrey Woods, who was obviously infected by these microbes. And we also learned that they are referred to as Macabres, which I will now refer to the experimented stuff infected by microbes as Macabres. And with this video, we can finally piece together a bit of story. This story being what we learned from the Macabres in the Smile Dog video that was terrorizing Wyatt, the one in the suicide video, the Suicide Mouse Macabre, which killed Diane and her child, and then the Macabre and Ben drowned, which seems to have infected a person who's now trapped in this game. Well, each of these have their own little mini story with it. We can't get the overarching story thanks to microbes, and here's what I think is going on. So as we learned, Ethan Macabre went missing after they found the source of the microbes. What I think what happened is he fused with the source and is now creating these Macabres, and Ethan Macabre is, I've said that so many times it's thrown me off, Macabre is the Dark Man. He is the one creating these Macabres and enjoying every second of watching them terrorize people. And this is backed by the text, "My glorious creations, breathe." So we know that Ethan is most likely a Dark Man, but if he's not, we know that the Dark Man is still the one creating all these Macabres, terrorizing everyone. And these Macabres are these old creepypastas that we heard about, which to us are just stories, but in this world, maybe they're part of urban legend, but they're actually happening thanks to the experiments done by Ethan Macabre. And I want to say that maybe in the Ben drowned video, Ben is the son of Ethan. Now, that's reaching, but I don't know, just seeing the text of him going like, I want to be free from him, you know, because obviously Ben is being held inside the copy by Ethan. And then earlier saying, "Father, why would you do this?" I want to say that maybe Ben is the son of Ethan, which is pretty cool and crazy. And maybe he experimented on his son. But anyways, that's kind of reaching, so I don't want to put that. But we know for sure that Ethan Macabre is running around creating these different, creepypasta macabres. And he is the source of it by sending out these microbes. That's what's going on in the story, basically. Now, as to why is this all happening, more story, who is the narrator, we just gotta wait for more videos to kind of figure that out. This is a pretty relatively new story. A lot of the videos are only a couple months old, so we will just have to wait for more content to get released. But I am just so happy, as someone who grew up reading creepypastas, that someone's kind of breathing new life on them, bringing them to the analog horror, which is like, oh my god, this series is so well done. I want to thank you, Stuffy Studios, for making it. This is seriously some of the best stuff I've seen in all time, and yeah, I'm a fan, dude. But I also want to thank Acclaimed Banana for commenting the suggestion. I'm so happy I saw this series. Thank you for suggesting it. And then before I let you guys off, once again, check out Night Visions. It's pretty well made, I like to think. I don't know. I can't judge my own stuff, but you guys can tell me it's pretty well made. And then also, if you want to go check out... If you want to go check out Night Visions, there's also the Muerte Collective, which you can join to help, solve the mysteries of it. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later. DeadHatz out.